Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Fernandez, and this is another episode of my Artstation challenge, where I create a 3D model from scratch, follow the progress as I get it ready for submission to a 3D modeling challenge hosted by a website named Artstation, which is a portfolio page for 3D modelers, professionals in the computer, gaming, special effects, you name it, industry. Basically, people that do what I do. Where we last left off, I was attempting to resolve I would say somewhat tricky geometric issue. Well, tricky for me. I'm sure that there are people that have a lot more experience than I do that would be able to look at this and go, noob. I've only been doing this for a couple decades now, so I don't have all the answers. So, the issue is this. I would very much like for a line here to continue flowing along. I may just... that may be what I do. Yeah, that's too many. That's a 5-pointed polygon. And yes. Alright, so this is what I will do. Hopefully I will remember this in the future. You know what, I will make that flow a little bit better, because it bugs me when it doesn't flow correctly. And then I have to fix it later. There's no reason to fix it later if you do it right the first time. Now, I thought that solved the problem, but you know what? It still solves the problem, because I will just continue this along this way. We're good. We are good. So, one thing that I will do before we go any further is I will merge these points. Voyage. Voyage again. So, save this again. Let's save this version 5. Always saving versions, save often. And there's some third step I should probably say, but I can't think of anything right now. There we go. I actually really like that edge flow. It could be maybe a little bit better, but I think it works for now. couple of points here. Round this thing up a bit. Alright, now let's take a look at this. Aha! Okay, so this is an additional issue. But it's not really that big an issue. Maybe now I can solve it. Let's see. It's a little tight back there. Actually, you know what? That is how I wanted to solve this. I wanted to solve that a little bit differently. I did want to resolve that a little bit differently, but now I have the tools to. So, let's do that. That is how I wanted to do things. Ah, perfect. I was worried that that was going to be an issue, but it solved itself. I love problems that solve themselves. God damn it. Oh, nope. Okay. This is actually not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. This gives me more options, which is good. Having more options is good. Keep reminding myself that I may be making a mess, but at the same time, I am creating opportunities to correct mistakes that I've made along the way. It's like I solve one problem and another problem that I didn't realize was a problem reveals itself in the process of solving the first problem. So then I go, ah, I have to fix that too. But if it needed to be fixed, then it needed to be fixed anyway. I'm not sure how much sense that actually makes, but it makes sense to me. And so that's what we're going with. things are getting a little tight and scrunchy over here, and it's not supposed to be that big an issue. So let's go to the arms. That is the front view. So that works out. Mr. Armpit here. Let's move all this. Oh man, I wonder. If, because it looked from my reference images that the forearm kind of twisted, like so, as it went along. If that's the case, that could present a very interesting opportunity to continue with the flow. That could be very interesting. question if that continues. Okay, interesting. Oh, damn. Yeah, I think if this twists, if this actually does what I'm thinking it does, then this allows me to do a lot more with the construction of the hand with minimal control points. Because it's twisting, it's taking these up, these that were on the side, and putting them up top and on the bottom. That makes modeling the hand a lot easier. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. I think that's the direction I want to go in. Surprisingly enough, this is not something that I have considered in the past while modeling other things. So I'm going to try it and see how it goes. I mean, this isn't for a client. This is just for my own personal experimentation, trying new things. That's what this is all about. So I'm kind of excited to see where it takes me. Let's go ahead and select all these again. Let's just get that twisted. Okay, that's definitely going to need some attention, some love, because that's all kinds of wonky now. We'll definitely need to spread these out a bit, straighten them up. Okay, got that now. Good. Now, extrusion time. I can worry about the details of the wrist and other parts of the hand a little bit later. For now, looks like we're in business. It's been a long time since I've modeled a hand, so this will be a stroll down memory lane. I can remember exactly how I used to do this. Actually, I think this thing has kind of solved itself. Maybe. If I'm lucky. Which, what are the odds of that happening? Yeah, this is, I think, what I'll do. is the pinky section. I wasn't expecting to do this. Little things come up. Yeah. Kind of weird, but it's kind of what happens sometimes. Alright, so I'll definitely need to rearrange some of this. Let's go ahead and do it now, while it's still fresh in my mind how I think it's supposed to go. So now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is exactly the number of fingers that we need to come out this way. And then the thumb will come out of here. So now let's take another look. Arm reference. Back view. Let's check that. Alright, so we need to scoot a few things over. Make room for all the necessary fingers. And the pinky. So here comes the fun part, or at least a fun part, the part that's fun for me. Hold on. Here, let me zoom this in so you can see it. Two. Save. Alright, you ready? You ready for the magic trick? I'm ready for the magic trick. 1, 2, 3. Instant fingers! Dun 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 dun. Alright. Here we go. Now, I'm not going to be laying them out in exactly this sort of like curved, wonky format. I don't need to. What I will do, though, is taper them, because I can. I also will probably be resizing them to make them a little more uniform, but not by much. So let's take a look. Look at that. Those look wonky as hell, but they're there, and that's the important thing. They will require a little bit of massaging. That's really interesting if the arm twists like that. I know that it doesn't look 100% like it does, but I think it does. I think it does twist like that. And that, I was worried about how I was going to add in the fingers without adding more detail to this area that doesn't really need it. I was worried that I was just going to have to continue like just overloading the whole section here with unnecessary detail. But with that twist in the arm, that actually kind of works out, and I'm surprised, pleased even, that it came out that way. So I will continue on and see what we can do with these fingers. this. Nope, that doesn't do shit. I kind of miss the old polygon cut tool where I could just sort of draw a line here and have it. It totally did the thing. Okay, alright, I retract my previous statement and I really appreciate this tool. Alright, save! Alright. Yeah, there was a tool called Cut, but apparently this multi-cut operates both as cut and slice polygon, which I'm actually starting to get the hang of this tool, and it's not too bad. Alright, so I need to there and possibly there. It might be helpful for me to take a look at the arm reference here, see where the boom boom. Wow, I'm surprised that actually came out as close as it did. Okay. Oh, actually, before I make those cuts, one thing I really ought to do is take a look at the straight on view for the fingers and make sure that they are squared up. Because I want them to be fairly uniform in their shape. This is coming along. Let's expand this one. Okay. Save. Every few minutes it seems I'm saving. That's a good habit to get into, honestly. At least in this instance. Okay, so got this. Time to draw these cuts again. Only permanent this time. There. There. Alright. So that's helpful. Then use the offset edge loop tool to give us the spacing that we need for knuckles. Now, the placement of these will probably change over time, but like the spacing and like exactly what the orientation of them are. But this gives us some uniformity, which we need. Right. Oh, also, probably should have done this before adding all of these extra polygons into the mix, extra points into the mix, but this will work just as well. Yeah. I guess I will have to add some extra detail to the mesh, but we'll see how exactly that goes with the twist. So let's go ahead and do that now to get that out of the way. Get these. See what happens when I do this. Ooh, across the chest. That's helpful. Oh, I definitely need to spend a lot more time on the back, especially if I'm going to be adding detail. Look at that. Bottom of the chest. Put this down. Also bottom of the chest. Okay, we're getting a lot more detail here. And this just goes straight around. There. Easy peasy. So the arm is getting a lot more detail. I should probably undo this, adding these extra levels of detail until I have the back of the arm completely sorted out and the back completely sorted out. The chest can take a little more detail, I think, but I should definitely have the geometry of the back in a better, let's see, what would be the correct adjective here? I should definitely have it fleshed out more before I add more detail, because this is definitely not the way it's supposed to be. I'll have to take a look at the anatomy books to make sure that I've got everything laid out properly. But as you see, adding the additional detail here, things are really starting to become fairly well defined. Maybe a little too defined. It's a crease here, it's a crease here. Don't exactly look natural. starting to get some crazy muscle striping here, which sometimes can and sometimes can't work in our favor. But yeah, I'll definitely need to spend a little more time making sure that everything is exactly flowing where it needs to before I start adding more levels of geometric complexity. But you'll see that the fingers are a little less forkish and more fingerish. But for now, let's take that off. There. Alright. I'm kind of tempted to stop for now. I know I started late, at around 8 o'clock as opposed to 7:30, but I'm starting to get a little tired, and that's actually really, really good news. Maybe, if I'm very lucky, I can get to sleep early enough to do some swimming in the morning. I haven't done that in a while. I need to get back onto a regular exercise regimen. Oh, well, what am I whining about? I'm only about 10 minutes away from where I would have ended anyway. And I have a tendency to end about 10 minutes early, I've noticed. I don't usually go all the way up to 9 o'clock. So I will call it a night. And there may or there may not be a session tomorrow. I think there will be. Wait a second. Yeah, today's Monday. There will definitely be a session tomorrow. Theoretically, the session will begin at 7:30, like it's supposed to. Things have a tendency to come up, I've noticed, so sometimes I get a late start, but I will be aiming for a 7:30 startup. Let me go ahead and roll credits. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. And if you're stumbling upon this later, I am broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Although Facebook doesn't really want to work recently, I still have to sort that out. And I will see you tomorrow at 7:30-ish through to close to 9 o'clock. All right. All right. Rolling credits. And may the force be with you. Go. Keep on going. Thanks again for watching. And Kushmoyini.